A very good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another video. As some of you have been asking me to make a video about living in Ireland as a student and then working here as well, I have been planning this for a very long time, but I finally am able to do it now because of my sponsor, LeadUKI and Ireland. And I'm so grateful that today I'm being joined by the CEO and founder of LeadUKI and Ireland. She will be able to answer all the questions that you have about coming to UK and Ireland. So welcome to my channel, Tutu.
Thank you so much for having me. So first of all, I just want to thank you for having me in this video and to share experience, not just mine, but also yours to everyone. And I mean, I've been such a big fan of yours. I've been following your YouTube channel. You have such a first-hand experience, present your life studying and working in Ireland. So that's really, really nice. I think for loads of people who just want to come to the UK or Ireland to know and be aware of and what do they have to prepare. So my name is Tutu. I'm a founder of LeadUKI in Ireland, which is an education agency that kind of empowered you to reach your dream university and help you with the preparation process, because you know, coming to study abroad, sometimes it could be really complicated in terms of like documents or which university to go to or what kind of preparations you have to prepare. So I just want to be there to help everyone to reach their dreams free of charge as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So let's get right into it and then talk about the processes, applications, and our life in Ireland.
Yes.
So Tutu, tell me about how it was like to live and study in the UK.
So that was years ago, so I won't mention the year. So I study political economy of the Middle East. So I specialize in the Middle East. I study Arabic as well. It's a one-year program at King's College London. So at the beginning, I really don't like London at all. Like I visited London twice before I went to the university just to kind of like observe and take a look and do the university tour in north of England, in the south of England, because I really want to study Middle East studies back then. And I just want to study international political economy. And then this King's College London just opened political economy of the Middle East just for the first year. And I found that, okay, yeah, if there's a university in London that I wanted to go to, that would be King's. And then it was a really intense one-year program. And back then we don't have a post-study work visa at all. Right now we have like 2 years. If you go to the UK, you can work after you graduated for 2 years. Back then we don't have that program. But I still very happy, like that was the best time, best experience of my life. I have gained some friends for life. I have the best year of like going to other universities, using their libraries, public seminars, and you know London is very vibrant, so you kind of like having that student life and also doing loads of things outside of school. I also joined so many clubs. I joined Model United Nations, King's. I joined some societies at King's as well, so I get to know loads of people. And I also was part of the Thai Students Committee over in London, as well hosting games for Thai students all over UK. In the program that I study, it's just 6 of us. The whole program, entire program. There was 3 English, 1 French, 1 American, and myself as 1 Thai and 1 Asian student. So that's kind of very intense. I know like one-year program, it's always going to be intense. But like for me, it's just like changed the environment from studying in Thailand as a first degree with loads of people to become like, okay, I have to read every week. I have to write essays every week. I have to go to library on my own times. Like time management is really key. I learned a lot from that, and I think that I don't regret going to London. I don't regret going to King's. It was the best year.
I think for me as well, it was a very similar experience in the sense that my course was also a one-year course, but it was in human resource management from Dublin Business School. So what I liked about this college was that it was right in the center of Dublin City, and it was a stone throw away from literally everything around. So it was very convenient as well. So I think experience-wise, it would be very similar because the courses were very intense because it was a one-year course. And like how you said, time management is very important because there won't be anyone here to remind you to do your tasks. Before going for a class, you have to prepare by reading the research material or the class material that the lecturer might have sent the day before or a week before. You have to, like you said, like really contribute to the class and then be an active member as well. Like for my coursework as well, there were close to I think 10 people, and everyone had to do their part and then sort of communicate and then contribute to the class as well. So it was very intense in that sense, but it was a very gratifying experience, is how I would put it. Just be able to keep track of your responsibilities, and then you will have enough time to kind of do everything that you want coursework wise, and at the same time you'll be able to enjoy the Irish and the UK life here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, you learn so much from just a year.
Yeah.
Now we can go through the application process.
Right.
So could you explain your own experience? What are the process and timeline?
So for myself, I think the application process was pretty straightforward. I had to struggle a bit in the beginning because I was trying to find colleges by myself. So that involves a lot of emails and then keeping track of all the colleges that you apply to. So which can kind of get a bit overwhelming in the end. So what I would recommend is trying to make a checklist of what you need and what you need to do. And for myself, the first thing that I did was I got the IELTS exam out of the way. And so that exam is valid for 2 years. So once I got it out of the way, I was able to kind of start looking for colleges and other scholarship options. The first thing I did was the IELTS. The second thing I did was I started looking for coursework and the colleges that were able to provide me with those courses that I was looking for. And the third thing that I did was I started looking for any financial aid or scholarships. And if that was not possible, I started looking for possibilities of taking a student loan from India. I think this is where most people kind of struggle with a bit, is that the financial aspect. I think a lot of people think that when you go abroad, you need a lot of money. But I think nowadays, like since education and since the world is so much more accessible than before, if you kind of like follow through with the steps, as in like the entire process of the application, I think it's not as complicated as before. Then once I finalized on the list of colleges or the courses that I wanted to do and the scholarships that I could apply for, I started full on applying with all the documents that I needed. One of the most important documents I would say would be the SOP. This document would highlight what you can contribute to your college, to your coursework, and after you graduate, what you plan to do as a valuable member of the society. I highlighted a lot of my extracurricular activities. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically focused on your, let's say, your academics. It can be sports, it can be drama, it can be like all the societies that you participated in. Never underestimate yourself. Focus on writing an SOP that highlights the best part of you, as well as like if you have any weaknesses, just try to focus on writing about those weaknesses and how you overcome them, because that's also a very important point to think about when you write the SOPs.
And I believe you have applied around the end of the year, just for January intake.
So that's right. So I came in January 2019. So there is an option, I believe, for September as well. Both options are available for UK as well as Ireland.
So many universities have two intakes, so with intake in September and also in January for certain, and many actually right now university over in the UK and Ireland. And I think, so from what you mentioned, that's why our agency LeadUKI and Ireland kind of come to play and help you, because I know the whole process could be very overwhelming. And I think what we could provide is just keep track of what you need and follow up with you free of charge. So we make sure that you submit all the applications in time, you got your SOP ready, we review your SOP as well, we talk you through your preference and how you can personalize your choices or personalize your own experiences, which city or which university you like the most or that could suit you and work best for you, for your career goal as well. And from my own experience as well, like I remember going to so many people back in the year saying, I really want to go to King's, and then people would be like, oh no, your GPA, you'll never get to King's. But then because in my 4-year program, in my first degree, I actually kind of shortened it to 3.5 years. by that 3.5 years, I get to work with one of the embassies in Thailand, and then I got a work reference, which actually I strongly believe that helped me get into King's. And in my SOP, I highlighted so many extracurricular activities that I have done throughout my years as well, and also my work experiences, my internship experiences, and that could be something that get you to your dream university. And I strongly believe that if you aim high, it's all about trying. It's all about like, if you don't try, you don't know if you can ever get it.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I kind of stand, that I really want to empower people to kind of like at least try. Yeah.
So to summarize, what are the documents that someone would require before applying for UK or Ireland?
So here's the summary of the documents you need. SOP, IELTS, CV or resume, graduate certificate, transcript, valid passports, and also references.
Okay. I think that's a pretty straightforward list of documents as well. Once you have all these documents, I think LeadUKI and Ireland would be able to look for the best possible options for you.
Yeah.
So while we're still on the topic of finance, let's talk a bit about budget as well.
Yes, sure.
So for the 1-year course that I was doing, I paid roughly 11,500 euros. So I got a partial scholarship off of that. So in the end, I paid around 9,000 euros. And apart from that, with regards to my finances for the month, I paid 550 euros for the rent, roughly around 150 to 200 on food and utilities. This includes bus transportation fees as well, which I paid around 20 euros per week. So that's like the cap for the student bus cards. If you get a part-time job here in Ireland or the UK, it is pretty easy to manage like all your finances. Ireland's part-time wage is, I think, one of the highest in Europe as well. I'm not really sure about the UK, but how is it for you in the UK?
So basically in the UK, when you are studying, you get to do part-time job as well if you choose to. So that would be 20 hours a week. So maximum 20 hours a week during term time. So if off seasons like school breaks or after you finish school, so you get about like 4 months of visas before you apply to other type of visas. So you can do a full-time 40 hours a week as well. I know particularly in London, the living cost could be a bit expensive, but it also depends on your lifestyle. Do you cook? Do you go out a lot? Up to that as well, or you travel a lot like around the UK or around Europe, so you kind of need to calculate that into the picture. But for me personally, if I round it up, my total spend for the entire year, that was around 30 grand to 40 grand, so 30,000 to 40,000 pounds. It also depends on the course. So I know the science or business courses, tuition fee could be slightly more expensive than the social science one. Like for example, some business school, the tuitions could cost around 20 grand or 20,000 pounds. So it kind of depends where you live as well. Do you share or you live in a student accommodations? I know there are a lot of student accommodation throughout London. In a studio room, do you mind sharing bathroom, stuff like that? It could kind of like go on top of your tuition fees. But like for me personally, back then I stayed in a student accommodations. I got my own bathroom. I share kitchen, which is okay because I think I was out and about a lot, so I don't really need like a fancy place or anything. So it kind of depends on your preference, your lifestyle, on the budget. But yeah, you can always choose to kind of work as help to kind of like your expenses, as in lots of people I know work. If they want to go travel, they just work, and I know that they just need to prepare enough for tuition fees as well. And I think it depends on where you're from, your country. You need to kind of provide a financial proof as well that you or your family would be able to kind of sponsor the pay or the fees for the tuition fees, and also the maintenance fee, as it called, is a living expense for at least 9 months.
Right.
But also, we live in a capital city. Like I lived in London before. You are working in Dublin and studying in Dublin. So it's different. Like if you choose to go to university outside of the capital city,
True.
You could spend less.
Mhm.
That's definitely like you still got a choice of going to Wales or Scotland or even Northern Ireland or outside of Dublin, or that could also help with the cost and your budget. And there's plenty of good university out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like you have to go to London or Dublin. There are also options there that you might not know. So we would like to help you explore that as well.
Yeah.
But I know that there are so many people who just, they want to spend a year in Dublin or they want to spend a year in London, just like, make the most out of everything, and that's fair play to you. So like you can do that as well.
Right. So we're here to help you with the initial steps. All that's left now is for you to approach us, and then we'll help you with the process.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And you never know, sometimes they are doing like 10%, 20% scholarship, or even full scholarship or half scholarship in certain university. That could be an option for you as well.
Yeah. In the sense that you want to get back into university, you want to get back into a certain course that you've been thinking about. I think during the pandemic, a lot of people have had a lot of time to think about this within themselves.
Yeah.
And then now, if you think that you're ready to take on the next step, I think now is the right time to kind of approach this whole career change or upscaling, if you may. Yeah.
Most definitely, yeah.
So, with regards to like universities, what would you say are the very well-known universities in the UK?
So here are some well-known universities in the UK. So most obviously, Oxford, Cambridge, and also in London, King's College London, UCL, LSE, and in Scotland, that would be Edinburgh, and also in Northern Ireland, that would be Queen's University, Belfast. What about Ireland? Can you just tell us what are the well-known universities?
One of the very well-known universities in Ireland would be Trinity, UCD, University of Cork, University of Limerick, and we have Dublin Business School, of course.
Yes.
And then we have, in a bit further away from Dublin, we have other good colleges in Galway as well, such as NUI, which is National University of Ireland, Galway. So these are some of the options that you could actually look into.
There are plenty more universities as well in the UK in particular. In north of England, like I said, in Wales or in south of England, there are many universities in London as well.
Right.
So these are just the well-known that people usually
Yeah.
have heard of or they've seen in the films or in movies, stuff
Right.
like that. So you can just ask us and have a chat with us so we can kind of provide you with more details.
So I think we're finally at the final section of this video, which is the Q&A part. There are a lot of questions that many people would like to know. So would you advise people to kind of look for a career change now and then come to the UK and Ireland?
I think this is a very good timing and good opportunity. Why? Because I think for a lot of people who feel lost or like, as we might know, it could be like a layoff, it could be like career change, it could be you work from home and then you realize you don't like what you do. So I think this is the best time because maybe it's kind of the time for you to reflect what you need, especially in learning or education. And then you have this opportunity to come to the UK or Ireland to work after you graduate as well for 2 years or even a year. And I think that was one of the most important part of coming to study as well. Like you can use that knowledge right away and you get that work experience abroad. So I think this is the best time because I know that there are lots of things going on. There are lots of confusions. You might feel lost, but then I think education is always the best first step. Like you get to start somewhere and then you can get to start by learning or gaining more knowledge for you to kind of like shape the way to the career goal you want.
From my personal experience, I believe that coming to Ireland has been a life-changing experience for me. I've got to meet so many new people and career-wise I've become so much more confident in working in an organization. The next question would be, if someone says they want to work abroad in UK and Ireland, like how would they go about it? Like what do you think they should look into?
I think the most important part, I know it's like I mentioned, is always education, but the part of getting that education is all about self-reflection. So our initial conversation would be, what do you want out of the degree? So if it's like, okay, you just want to particularly work abroad, or you want a certain degree in certain field or specializations, and what type of work do you want to work, as in working abroad? Are you looking for a long-term or even citizenship? So it will be an honest conversation initially, so we can work out like what are your priorities in going abroad. So I know there's different elements into it, because there's so many people who said, okay, yeah, they want to study business and get a job as soon as they could, or maybe work on certain critical skills. Like for example, in the UK, a lot of people did masters in architecture and become an architect and earn a permanent residence and become a UK citizen afterwards. Like over here in Ireland as well, there are a lot of people coming to study data analytics and then get that critical skills and then get their permanent residence and then become an Irish citizen afterwards.
What prospects are there with regards to gender studies in UK or Ireland?
Okay.
So yeah.
So like I think so many people or agencies per se, they have more knowledge in terms of like business schools or popular schools or popular courses in the UK and Ireland. But I know, like from my own experience as a politics student, not a lot of people specialize in social science. Like for example, gender studies, we have so many good universities, particularly in the UK, that study early gender studies or also do international development along with gender studies. Like for example, IDS over in Sussex, the south of England. It's also a very good university. There's so many people graduated and then move to the UN, the United Nations, or work for an international NGOs, specializing in women or specializing in conflicts or gender studies. It could be a very broad program if you choose to, but there's so many modules you could go over. So I think there are still other universities that maybe the program name could be very like broad, like for example international development studies, but then they have a certain modules or certain professor, and we can help you explore those options as well. But I think it will come down to your work experience. What do you want to do afterwards? Gender studies, by your meaning, what is actually gender studies? Do you want to touch on like women or LGBTQ plus? So there's so many, as I said, like there are always many elements to add on. So it's always good to have a chat first.
But then it really helps that you have personal experience with political science as well. And then because from that perspective, you're able to kind of help people who have a similar background and who wants to continue studies in that background as well. So I think that's really good. Yeah,
but it doesn't just mean that we are focusing only on political science. We have many consultants that we could give you advice on that, and then we can go through the whole process together. It could be like, you want to come and study law, or you want to come to study business, or you want to come to study engineering. So come and have a chat with us.
So I'm going to be linking a Google link down in the description below, and if you guys have any more questions, please leave a question in that document, and then we will answer them right away, or if not, then we'll just give us 24 hours or so, and then we'll try to answer them as soon as we can. And at the same time, we will also be linking the Instagram poll, and then if you have any questions and you would like to have an immediate answer, if it's very urgent, you can reach out to LeadUKI in Ireland Instagram page as well, and then I'll leave the email down below as well. So thanks so much for being here today and then talking about this topic, because I know a lot of people have wanted to kind of get to know about the entire process.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.